May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from harm. May all beings love life. May all beings awaken. Welcome to another Cuke Audio podcast. I'm DC, Poobah of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, doing our bit to help preserve the legacy of Shunryu Suzuki and those whose paths cross his, and anything else that comes to mind. I pray that you and yours are safe and comfortable, free from economic hardship, and able to get out and do whatever it is you want within the limitations of the universal precept of do as little harm as possible. So today we have a guest, Peter Ford. Peter is the unsung hero of Cuke Archives. He's not totally unsung, but most people maybe are not aware that he's the one putting up the daily Shunryu Suzuki lecture excerpts. Here, let me read to you from what's on the Who We Are part of Cuke.com. It tells you some about him. Peter Ford is the managing director of Cuke.com. He's been putting major time into Cuke Archives since 2012. He's involved daily with all aspects of it, but his forte is the mechanics of it all, which is way beyond my ken. The database of ShunryuSuzuki.com, the drop-down menus on Cuke.com, the form and function of the offline archive are but some highlights of his contributions. Peter has an acute eye for detail and a steady grasp of the complex entirety of Cuke Archives. We both get ideas about what should be done next, but he's the one who makes it work. Frequently, we're in touch multiple times a day. Often, I'm like an assistant to him, providing material expressing gratitude. That's from the Who Are We page of Cuke.com. But, that doesn't tell you everything at all. It would be impossible to tell you everything he does because it covers so much. I mean, he's involved with Suzuki lecture transcripts, making sure the verbatim transcripts are accurate, creating more minimum edits, working with Wendy Piercig. Anyway, you're going to hear about all this. And one thing I want to add, and it's in there too, but as working for months and repeatedly coming back to it with me on Tassahara Stories, which are 3 books. And we've gone over all 3 of them together for months, him and me and Wendy Piercig. So I want to make one thing clear here, and that is what I do. He's in charge of Cuke Archives, which is it's a big umbrella. But I'm involved in all that. But him doing what he does has allowed me to do something I felt I really had to start focusing on, and that was getting these books published. And there's more than Tassahara Stories coming up. Books, audiobooks, podcasts, and another thing is communication. And that takes up a good deal of my time. People get hold of me wanting to get hold of somebody else, wanting information, wanting all sorts of things, or just saying hello. And sometimes because of what I have to do from what comes up in the morning email, I look at email in the morning. After I sit and walk and drink water and all that. So a couple hours after I get up, I do that. Sometimes it's 2 p.m. before I can get to work on the transcript I'm on or whatever. Also, the podcasts frequently can take just about a whole day, talking to the person and then going over it and getting it ready to post. And, there's other things. I do yoga and take a walk. So I just wanted to make that clear. Books, audiobooks, podcasts, communication, and stuff having to do with websites and Cuke Archives. Anyway, let's just get going with the podcast. And you'll hear a lot, no matter how much we say, it won't cover all he's done. And I will never be able to express all the gratitude I have for what Peter has done with Cuke Archives. Thank you very much, Peter. All right, here we go. Well, hi, Peter. How you doing?
Doing well today. How are you doing today, David?
Good.
Is it hot? Is it hot in Bali? Not hot now?
No. This is, we're just getting out of the coolest part of the year. And we have a guest here. I probably mentioned to you, the son of Bill Porter, and he lives in Taiwan a lot, in America, and he was just in Taiwan, and he said, it's not hot here at all compared to Taiwan. But, that's sort of relative. But my experience is even when it's really hot, it's not as hot as other hot I've experienced in India and the summer in Texas and different places. But, that can change. So how is it where you are? You're in Pennsylvania.
Yes. It's gotten really nice the last week or so with cool nights and days at about 70.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. 70 here is like, I actually hear people complain.
It's too cold. They need to wear a sweater, right?
Yeah. So, I'd like to start all the podcasts by asking people, what they're doing right now. What are you up to?
Well, you know that I work on Cuke Archives every day. That's part of my daily activity.
I do know that, and I cannot express enough how grateful and I am, and just how in awe I am of all the work you've done.
Oh, well, I'm grateful also for being part of this, but you know about that. So the other thing that I've been working on lately is the County Democratic Committee. I've become a resource person for their website. So I've been working a lot because we've got municipal elections coming up in November. No, what do we say, national offices, but school boards and judges and mayors and borough councils. And so, I don't know, probably 100 of them that I had to put onto a web page that I think we just about got it ready to roll at this point. So that's been keeping me busy. That's actually taken away some of my time that I would have devoted to working on a Suzuki transcription that I was in the middle of when this came up. But those I know we're not on any time schedule for them.
That's right. And also, I think it's important that you do whatever you can to save America from destruction.
Yeah.
Mm.
What little I can do, I definitely feel I should be doing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't feel
well,
that it's much, but maybe a little bit can help somehow.
yeah, yeah, well, thank you. Uh, now, you said I know what you're doing with Cuke Archives. You said I know that, but actually, you're not you're not talking to me. Yes.
Right.
So could you describe what have you been involved with recently?
Well, I see normally my first job is to do the Cuke Archives daily every day, where I take usually a paragraph of a Suzuki lecture and try to make sense of it. And I like to edit it a lot more than maybe you would, but I like to edit it so I feel that it's very readable to anyone who reads it. And then, of course, I have to find a picture to go with it. And I do that. Um, and I put the words and the picture together in a JPEG file, and then I upload it to our database, which has the most information in it, but it's kind of secondary, I think, because I don't know how many people actually go there. But originally it was to go to Instagram, which it still does. And when it goes to Instagram, it also at the same time goes the same way to Facebook.
It goes to Facebook Cuke Archives and to Instagram Cuke Archives, right?
And then I put it into our Cuke Archives blog, where I don't use the same image. I use the text in the Cuke Archives blog, and then I just take the image part of the image, which comes from the Instagram image. In other words, in Instagram, we can't use text for the most part. So it's all the text is part of the image. But for the blog, I separate the text and the image, and the text goes in as text, and the image goes in as an image. So that's kind of the fourth place it goes. And then I copy from the blog page and go to Thunderbird, where I have set up a template where I just paste in what we have from the blog into the template. And then we have a mailing list of, I don't remember how many, I think only about 80 people who get it every day as an email.
Yeah.
And then the newest one that we've added is Blue Sky.
Yeah.
So on Blue Sky, I paste the same image as goes on Instagram, but I also use the title from the blog, which is usually just 3 words or so from the Suzuki excerpt.
Yeah.
And I use that title, and I also have a link to the first one that I mentioned, which is the database where they, they can get to from the Blue Sky page, the Blue Sky post. And the advantage of the database is it always has a link back to the source, wherever the Suzuki lecture is on shunryusuzuki.com. It has a link to that, and it has a link to wherever the image comes from.
Yeah.
So we often get people asking us, where did this come from? And it's always there, but I don't think most people find it.
Well, I think you've got it set up where most people who want to know that find out because we don't get the number of questions we used to get.
Yeah, maybe they're starting to use it.
We used to get a lot of questions. Well, where's this from? Who is that? That sort of thing. Yeah, I want to comment here that I did the Suzuki lecture excerpt for years, just putting it on the blog. I think the point where you took it over was when my beloved wife, Katrinka, kept saying, you should go on Instagram. And, I mentioned that. And finally, you did it. And then it was Instagram and Facebook and you made it, and the email. So you expanded it. You put the image in every day, and I can't tell you how often people tell me thank me for doing that, and I said, well, I'm not really doing it anymore. It's Peter Ford, and they say, who's he? And I try to give you credit as much as possible, but anyway. What you've done it's incredible. And I would like to point out here that Peter Ford, for years, has had the exonerated title of, what is it? Managing Director of Cuke Archives. And I call myself now on special projects, and because Peter really he's more, he's got his thumb on the pulse of the whole thing better. And anyway, so that's really something. You do that every day. That is great. And you do it Sunday. I used to not do anything on Sunday.
Yeah, well, now we're doing Sunday. We're promoting the podcast, basically.
Yeah.
So this might be a conflict of interest this time.
That's great. Well, you like one thing you've done recently that I thought was really great is in the shunyusuzuki.com lecture search page, I don't know quite how to say this. You expanded the user-friendly part of the searching for lectures and books. So now there's a page that just lists the books, and somebody can click on that, and then it lists all the lectures that were in that book.
Yeah, that was a good project. I was very happy to do that, and I was inspired to do it because of the new book that came out recently.
Becoming Yourself.
Yes, Becoming Yourself, yes.
Suzuki Lectures edited by Mel and Jiru. Is that correct?
Right.
Were there any others involved?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Jiru, who's the abbot of Gringotts now. Is there anything else you're involved in now before I ask you the next thing?
Well, I mentioned briefly that we're still trying to get what we're calling verbatim transcripts of every lecture that we have audio for, although some I've kind of given up because the audio quality is still not really good enough. But there's still a number of them, and I try to work on them when nothing else is pressing. So that to me is a big project that's probably going to go on for years. There aren't that many left, but there's still enough that it's going to take a while. And then normally when I finish doing my transcription, I send it to Wendy Persig, and she'll go over it and put it into what we call a minimum edit. And then we have both of those posted on the website.
Yeah. And this is amazing because the minimum edits were a guy named Gordon Geist in Norway, who was a Suzuki student in the early 60s. I don't think, I think he was gone by the time I got there. He did the first minimum edits. It was all, he did a whole bunch of them. One thing he went over was the wind bell. You know, we're not only talking ones with audio. He went over all the wind bell transcripts and found typos and used the same book Suzuki was lecturing from and made corrections. And he was very exacting. And at some point, he stopped doing it. But I think he was doing that in very early, very soon after Cuke Archives started. And there were other minimum edits. You know, I got people to do it and this and that. We had guests doing it. And then at some point you came in. When did you start? When were you first involved?
It was I think, 2012. It was right before you moved to Indonesia. A little bit before you moved to Indonesia. I think it was 2012. Yes. I looked at my notes. That was the earliest file I could find.
Yeah.
2012.
Yeah. That sounds right. At some point you got involved and then it was just you. And at some point, Wendy got involved, and you know I can't remember, but
yeah, we had a few other people, but it seems like Wendy was the one who would stick with it the most.
Yeah, there have been other people, and they're credited. You know, at the bottom there's a name for it, the information for the sort of the history of the transcription is there.
Right.
But it's amazing to me, it's still going on.
Yeah.
It's like endless, decades. That is really great. Well, can you think of, you know, you've done so many projects like what we were talking about. Well, taking ShunryuSuzuki.com, you turned it from the simple sort of presentation I had into a sophisticated database that was much more user-friendly and sophisticated and easier to use. And wow, it's great.
The other project that I've been working on, we can mention your book, right?
Oh, yeah, you mention anything, yeah. Oh,
yeah. So
right.
We've been working on a bunch of pages for the new Tasahara Stories book that's going to be coming out this month in about 3 weeks.
That's right. You and Wendy both went over it extensively. We spent months, I think, on it, like over a year ago, mainly. But since then, I mean, you went over it a number of times. Like on the second book, the sequel or whatever, which I do have a contract for, and what you went over, you and Wendy, in different ways, was all 3 books.
Yeah.
When it was like one giant, like endless book of Tatsahara stories, and now it's 3 books. You put a lot of time into that, but it's essential for it. Oh my God, yes. Anything else? I mean, there's tons of other
Well,
things.
I wasn't just talking about the book. I was talking about the web pages we've created to go along with the book. So people will be able to see additional material online that's not in the book.
Oh, right, right. And it can be accessed now,
Mhm.
cuke.com/TS.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that's great. And all you've done for it. And like, what does it have?
Well, it has the book index, it has maps, it has names of people who are mentioned. I'm going to look at the page so I can tell everything that's in it. Let's see.
Well, this isn't only the names of the people that are mentioned. With each one of them, you have a link to
Right.
to a page for
And
them,
a
information on them.
page on Cuke. Yeah. So we have the preface that anybody can read right now online. We have images that are from that time period. The maps. We have the initial press release. We have reviews, the latest one that we're going to be talking about, I think, in the maybe tomorrow on the Daily Post. The latest one is from the San Francisco Zen Center. Um, yep, Sangha News Journal. We have your notes. We have the glossary, and we have the book index. And we're going to add another page, I think, with links to a bunch of other Tassajara related pages on cuke.com.
I'm curious to know where sort of your way seeking mind story. Because when you got hold of me, and I'll tell you, I've had a lot of people get hold of me and say they want to help, and it almost never works out. And you got a hold of me and said you'd like to help, and I'm a little jaded, I go, okay, sure. And then, my God, you just started doing the most extremely helpful things beyond, like, sort of beyond what I imagined. And you at that time were living in Tennessee and were involved with some Buddhist groups there. So I'm sort of interested in your what they call the way-seeking mind story. Like like I'd like to know where you were born, when you I don't know when you were born,
Okay.
and where you
So,
first started, got some
yeah, yeah.
spark of
No,
interest.
yeah, no, I've been thinking about this. So I was born in Philadelphia in 1952, so I'm 73 years old. And my parents were not really practicing Jewish. So they would go to temple on the high holy days, maybe twice a year. And that was about it. So, it was there in the background. And they wanted us kids, I have a younger brother and an older brother, and they wanted us to go to Sunday school. So we did. I mean, when we were kids, we couldn't argue about it. We didn't really like it, but we'd go into this. We lived kind of on the outskirts of Philadelphia, in the city, but near the suburbs. So we would drive into the city on Sundays to go to Sunday school. And I have this memory. How accurate it is, I don't know. I mean, it's like a 65-year-old memory. But I have this memory of being in the temple for service, which wasn't the normal thing because normally we just go to like a classroom for Sunday school. But for some reason, we were in the big temple, and it was one of the probably biggest temples, if not the biggest temple in downtown Philadelphia. And I have this memory that I was looking up at the ceiling and at a chandelier And I was probably around 8 years old. And I don't think I knew the term BS. Maybe I did, I don't know. But in my mind now, I was saying, this is BS. What's going on here is just BS. And, I know it was, I mean, we moved out of Philadelphia when I was 9 years old. We moved to suburban New York and New Jersey suburb. So I know it was before I was 9 years old. And I'm sure I had some kind of a feeling like that. Exactly what it was, I don't know. But it was I would say, a rejection of the Bible stories, if nothing more than that. And then we moved to New Jersey. I was in a small temple there, and they insisted I didn't have to do a bar mitzvah. None of us did bar mitzvahs, but I was kind of parentally required to go to Sunday school in this town, and I went until 10th grade when we had what they called confirmation. And the one memory I have is, and the confirmation class was with the rabbi. Before that, the classes were with, I think, volunteer teachers from the area. But the confirmation class, at least the one I remember, was with the rabbi. And I don't know exactly how it came up, but in the class, I remember saying, well, I don't really feel like I'm Jewish because I don't believe in God. And the rabbi said, well, you don't have to believe in God to be Jewish. That impressed me, that the rabbi said that.
That's good.
Yeah, that impressed me. But I still didn't feel like I was Jewish. But I thought, I hear him. I know what he's saying. It's not a requirement from his perspective. Of course, there are probably many different rabbis who would not agree with that. But that's what he told me. And that kind of stuck with me. And then I think when I really started to get into what you're calling the way-seeking mind, at that point, I guess I was just maybe rejecting things. But in college, in my sophomore year, actually the summer before my sophomore year, I borrowed a book from the local library about yoga. And I started to do some yoga exercises. And then in my sophomore year in college, at Rutgers College in New Jersey, I joined the yoga club. And every week we would have students who were pretty adept, and they would teach us hatha yoga. And I really got into it then. That was 1970, 71. And I still do yoga every day. I I still stand on my head most days. That was to me the kind of ultimate yoga pose that I got into, and I still do that most days. And that was my sophomore year. My junior year, I got into a program for a junior year abroad in England, Exeter, England. And I should say I was studying, made English my major, kind of because everything else I tried didn't resonate with me. I thought I would do political science or sociology or maybe even economics or philosophy, and none of them really seemed right for me. So I always loved reading, so I became an English major. And then I went to England and was studying English there. And I had a tutor who I did not really think very highly of. We had weekly meetings with the tutor and a small group, like 4 people. And I mean, I was doing all the reading, and there were no tests in this system, but I was doing all the reading and going to all the lectures. And somehow it came up that question. Oh, I think he had asked us to write a paper, maybe.
Repeat that?
To write a paper, to write an essay
Uh-huh.
about something that maybe that we were studying. And I probably questioned that, saying, maybe I really didn't want to do that because I didn't have anything to say about whatever we were reading. And he asked me something like, well, then why are you here? Why are you here? And I started to think about that, and then I left. So I dropped out, and I left after one term, about 10 weeks. And I went to live with my brother in Philadelphia. He was doing a master's degree in history at Temple University. So I went to stay with him, not wanting to go and stay with my parents at that point. I was just about, no, I was 19, I guess, when I left, about 20 in the spring of 1972. And I was looking around for what would kind of interest me in a spiritual way. I should say, actually, when I was in England, I remember reading some stuff about the Theosophical Society. Why, I don't know, but I got into that.
Yeah.
And I remember reading some poetry, you may know this, by a poet named John Giorno called Bawling Buddha. Are you familiar with that?
No. The name again, John?
John Giorno.
Huh.
Bawling Buddha, Balling, Buddha. I don't remember it, but I remember I found it in the library, I guess, and I thought, this is interesting. So there was already this kind of beginning of going in that direction from the yoga and some interest in Eastern religions. And then when I was back in Philadelphia, my brother had a friend who was into Zen. And my brother had a part-time job in the library, and I went to the library with him one night, and I looked around and I found Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind.
Oh.
And that was it. I was hooked.
Oh.
that was the fateful, maybe, moment that I think has affected me very much ever since. I found that book, and I would read one chapter a night, and it all made sense to me. Well, maybe it didn't all make sense, but it made a lot of sense, and it seemed like, okay, this is the way that I want to go. This is the spiritual path that works for me. And I heard, probably from my brother's friend, I heard about this Zen temple, and I was trying to remember. I can't remember the name of it, but it was somewhere near Easton, Pennsylvania in 1972. I went there and I got a little instruction, and I wasn't sure how involved I wanted to be. And I have this memory that the what do you want to call him? The master, the leader of the temple, who was an American, I think, not Japanese for sure. He may have been European. I don't remember very well, but somehow it came up that, when you're doing this meditation practice, you shouldn't be reading literature, outside literature, or maybe even any literature. And I was into reading novels still from my reading, and studying English, and I was very much into Henry James,
Ooh,
and I
very
think I had a
good.
Henry James novel with me, and I was too attached to that to say, well, I'm not going to go and stay in a Zen temple because I still want to read my novels. So I was, very much committed to a lay practice, but not to any kind of uh, long-term monastic type practice.
Yeah, when you
But
said
from that point,
when you said Eastern
go ahead.
Pennsylvania, I thought of Mickey
Easton.
Stunkard, who was like at some point he was head of the
Yeah,
Department of Medicine, Psychology, something, University of Pennsylvania, but
yeah.
he wouldn't have said
No, it
that.
wasn't. It wasn't him.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Eastern Pennsylvania. It was Easton. Easton is this
Oh,
town in
Easton.
Pennsylvania,
Oh.
north of Philadelphia, maybe
Yeah.
an
I was
hour or
thinking
so
who would
north of
say
Philadelphia.
that? You know,
Yeah, I wish I could remember. I don't remember the name of the temple. I don't remember the name of. I mean, he was very nice, and he didn't discourage me in any way. But I think in my mind, that's what kind of convinced me I was going to be a lay Buddhist, not
yeah.
not somebody who was going to devote my life to it. But I think since 1972, you couldn't count more than a handful of days where I've missed a meditation of at least 20 minutes.
Mm,
It's maybe it's something I'm addicted to, but I do it every day.
good.
And now it's 40 minutes every morning. Since I'm retired, I don't have many pressing things that I have to do. So it's normally 40 minutes every morning.
Mm,
And that's been going on for over 50 years.
mm,
So that's kind of the beginning, I would say, of my way seeking mind story.
ooh. You so there you are in Pennsylvania in we're still in the
Mhm.
early 70s. What did you
Yeah.
do?
Okay. So that's summer. My brother had finished his coursework for his master's degree, and we had inherited a few $1,000s, I think maybe $4,000 each from our grandmother who had recently passed away. And we decided we were going to buy some uh, land in probably central Pennsylvania and do like a Walden thing and build our cabin and see if we could, get into living in the country. So my brother sent me off in his car to explore around Pennsylvania and find real estate. And I found a place which was 14 wooded acres on a dirt road. And if I remember right, it cost us $4,200. And we went there that summer and we started to build a foundation. And it was going very slowly. The foundation was just digging a hole and filling it with rocks. And that was going to be our foundation. And we did build a beautiful teepee in the meanwhile, so we would have something better to stay in than a tent. And we had this great, huge teepee that we loved.
Mm,
But I decided towards the end of the summer, we were not going to have a cabin built in time for the winter. And I said, this was a great summer, but I don't think we can stay here. At least I didn't feel like it was going to work out for me. So I went back to college, um, I went back to college for about a year and a half. I started to get into computers, I guess, the second year that I was back in college. And I was thinking I would do some kind of a master's degree in computer science, even though I was an English major. I had taken about 5 computer science classes.
Mm-hmm.
And I got some of the worst advice I think I ever got in my life. I went to the head of the computer science department at the college and told him I was thinking of doing a master's degree. And he said to me, well, he's like an attitude. Well, you have to do physics first. Which turns out to have been ridiculous. You didn't have to do physics to be a computer programmer. And I think he was coming more from the hardware angle. That's why he said that. But it kind of soured me. And again, I said, well, what the heck am I doing here? So I had 1 semester left to go. And I said, I don't know what I'm doing here. If I'm not going to do computers, because, English was basically something I enjoyed doing, but I don't know. I didn't want to do a master's degree in English. I didn't see teaching English at that point as a career. So I kind of got soured onto college again. And so I left with 1 semester to go. And that's when I drove out. I headed out to Tassajara.
Oh.
And I was going to go to Tassajara. I told you this, but
what
you
year?
not remember.
What year?
So this would have been either December 73 or January 74.
Oh.
I was right after my fall semester of 73. I was driving out to Tassajara, and I never thought much about contacting Tassajara until I got to Tucson, where one of my best friends had moved to and went to college in University of Arizona. So when I got to his place, I think I called somehow and got to talk to somebody at Tassajara or at Zen Center. I think it was at Tassajara. And they said, well, you can't just come here. you can't just come here. You can show up. You have to, I don't know, do what. So
you have to go through the city.
Yeah. So I don't remember exactly what they said, but I just got the message that I couldn't just come. And I don't know if they said I had to go to the city, because what ended up happening was I thought, well, I don't have much money. I'm here in Tucson. A friend of my friends told me you could get a job at this real estate company. So I got this job as like a real estate company gopher. And I think after I rented a little apartment, which was nice, in a Adobe outbuilding in Tucson, and I was working, and then I don't know. I think maybe I didn't have a telephone. Of course, there were no cell phones back then. So I think maybe they called where I was at my friend's apartment. I think they called there, and then they told me maybe what to do. Maybe it was to go to San Francisco. But at that point, I said, well, I've got a job. I've got an apartment. And it just didn't make sense at that point. So I kind of gave up on going to Tassajara.
I was head monk then.
That was my plan.
Yeah.
I don't know if I talked to you. It's possible.
No. I doubt if you talked to Tassajara. I mean, it's hard to call that number.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It might have been San Francisco.
You've got to go through a toll operator, and you can't just dial it. Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah. So I almost made it to Tassajara, but I never did. So anyhow, after I was working at this real estate company, and one of the owners was kind of nice to me and friendly, and he had me like do things like babysit his child maybe once or twice, and he got to know me a little bit, and he gave me good advice. He said, "Peter, you're not going to be a salesman. Go back to college and finish your degree and do something else." So that was good advice. Finally, I got some good advice. And so I went back that summer. I finished my degree. I got a part-time job while I was finishing up that summer at I went into a local bookstore in New Brunswick, and I asked for a job there, and they actually gave me a job in a warehouse that they owned, where they had all these remaindered books that they were trying to sell. They bought them, really cheaply, and then they would try to sell them in bulk to other bookstores. So I got this job, and I worked in this warehouse for a while. And at some point, I guess, I decided I wanted to go into the Peace Corps. And I applied to the Peace Corps, and I got what I thought was accepted to the Peace Corps. And I thought, oh, this is great. I'm going to go into the Peace Corps. And then that summer would have been 75. I got a letter, I guess, from the Peace Corps. Sorry, we could not find a position for you, so you're now on the inactive list. Something like that. So, what the heck? That's terrible. I was so excited to be doing this, and then really let down. So let's see. At that point, I got a job in the Princeton bookstore in the fall, I guess, of 75. And I worked at the Princeton bookstore, and a friend of mine who had gone to Columbia Teachers College told me I should do a master's degree at Columbia Teachers College, and then I would be able to get a teaching job, no problem. Because it wasn't that easy to get teaching jobs. I guess somewhere around that time, I was also looking for teaching jobs, yeah. And it wasn't that easy, and nothing that came up that really clicked for me. So I said, okay, I'll go to Columbia. So 1976, for the whole year, I went to Columbia, winter, summer, and fall. It was pretty easy to get a degree there. There was no thesis. It was just like a fifth year of college. So I did the coursework, got the credits, and I met a woman in one of my classes, and we were talking about what we were going to do, and I told her I wanted to go overseas still, but not in the Peace Corps, because I was burned by them. And she told me, my friend is a recruiter for the Peace Corps. She works right here in Columbia, and she's a recruiter for the Peace Corps, and she needs people, and she would definitely get you a placement. I think I must have told her about my experience, and she said she would definitely get you a placement. And I thought about it. I was burned by them. I think in the meanwhile, I had applied to some places in South America that I had found and written to. And she said, well, you really could get a job. She really needs people right now, and she would definitely place you. So I said, all right, let me look into it. So I went down to this office, talked with the young woman, and she said, yeah, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to Thailand, or you want to go to, and I don't remember the island, but it was an island in the Caribbean. And I said, Thailand, sure, it's Buddhist country. I want to go to Thailand.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was basically that easy. I mean, there was some paperwork that had to be done, but that would have been the winter of 76. March 77, I was in Thailand for my Peace Corps experience, which turned out to be the best job I ever had.
Oh, yeah.
My first real full-time job, but it was the best job I ever had.
What was it? Where were you? What did you do?
I was in the Northeast in the province of Maha, and I taught at a regional college. I taught English, and my students were all prospective English teachers. They were all, I would say 99% of them were planning to become high school English teachers. Mm-hmm. So they were good students. They were interested. And the faculty there was great. It was about, I think my first semester there, I was there for 4 semesters, 2 years. I think my first semester there was one other American, and then the rest of the time maybe there were 2 other Americans, and then the rest of the faculty were Thai, and they were great. I mean, everybody was great. The department chair was great. She looked after us. She kept us all happy, and we all got along very well. The students were, interested. The faculty were very good. I loved it there. We had bicycles. My wife was the secretary for our Peace Corps training. And after the end of our training, after 3 months, we got married. So it was very quick, and we've been married now 48 years. That's gone on and on. So I've kept a little bit of Thailand with me all these years.
What Northeast? What was it? Yeah. I've been in the Northeast. What was that? The town up there?
Korat is the bigger. Korat.
Maybe it wasn't north. It was something like, was it Chiang Rai or?
Oh, that's the north. That's the north.
Yeah.
No, where I was, it was kind of. It's the driest, probably the poorest province or poorest section of Thailand, the Northeast, and it's pretty dry. Probably, in my mind, more like Arizona. But they still had rice fields and water buffalo, and the town we were in was a provincial capital, but our little house was right next to a rice field with water buffalo. So I really liked that Mahasarakam. We had bicycles. We'd ride out of town on dirt roads, and there was a river that I'd go swimming in. And there was a temple there in this little village that was, didn't even have electricity. It was, a remote, it was only a couple miles outside of town, maybe 2 or 3 miles, but it was remote, didn't have electricity, and there was a temple there, and I had some interaction with the monk there, which was nice. I did find that my Zen, what do I want to say, didn't really seem like the Thai Buddhism was that close to Zen Buddhism, but I still appreciated the Thai Buddhism.
Yeah.
I never got to, probably there were places like forest monasteries that I never got to that would be more like Zen and more into the meditation that was most important for me.
Yeah.
But, the whole culture to me was a Buddhist culture, and just the generosity of just about everybody was fantastic.
Yes.
What was part of the Buddhist culture there?
Yeah.
So it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had more interaction with Vipassana, Theravadan Buddhists out here, and I don't. It's fine with me, but these are meditators, Myanmar monks, and I know we don't see things the same way. right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that doesn't matter because I just go there to sit.
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
where it's, I like Vipassana retreats, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh, well, so. How long were you in Thailand?
2 years, 77 to 79.
And did you all
And
get married there?
yeah, we got married 3 months after I was there. Yeah, we had a Buddhist ceremony with the monks at her house, her parents' house. Yep,
Wow, that's good.
yep,
That's and then she came back with you.
yep, yep. And then 79, my 2 year commitment was over, and I thought it was time to come back to the USA.
I have a question.
Uh,
You're
yeah,
Thai.
yeah.
Do you speak much Thai?
Not much anymore. I mean, when I was there, of course, we had 10 weeks of language training, and
Oh,
I was pretty fluent on a basic everyday level. Not I couldn't really watch the news in Thailand and understand
oh,
everything, but
oh yeah.
to get around, to go shopping, to order uh, at a restaurant, to talk, with people, I was fluent enough for that. And that's, what is it, 48 years ago. So we got married. So
Mm.
the years have gone by. I'm less and less fluent,
Yeah,
and
yeah, sure.
we don't use it that much. Once in, I speak a little to my wife in Thai, but not that much.
Do you go?
And
You've been back some.
yeah, we've been back, and I went back for a year in 1982 to 83. I got a job through an organization called Princeton in Asia, which I knew about from some of my coworkers when I was in the Peace Corps. So they came in after I started, but I learned about this organization called Princeton in Asia, which was housed at Princeton, but it wasn't part of the university. So I knew about that. I was working in New York City, which I hated for those 3 years.
What were you doing?
Okay. My father had a jewelry business, antique jewelry in New York City, and both of my brothers were working there. So when I came back I think it was probably March or April of 1979, not a good time to look for a teaching job. So my brothers convinced me, probably against my better judgment, that I should come into New York and work with them and my father for a while, see what it's like. And I never liked it. I mean, there were parts of it that I liked, but I never liked it. And I
Well,
almost,
I want to say something there. Immediately, I think your father was in the jewelry business, and you went
mhm.
to Thailand.
He wasn't in gems. He was in mostly antique jewelry, estate
Yeah,
jewelry.
yeah,
But he knew something about gems. He was quite knowledgeable,
yeah.
but he wouldn't be buying gems in Thailand.
Thailand's like a
Some of the
center for
people we
that.
dealt with,
Pardon?
yeah, some of the people that we dealt with went to Thailand to buy
Yeah,
gems. Yeah, but he
yeah.
wasn't doing that. So I had been working for my father, and I got a job offer in community college in California to teach English as a second language. And I was excited to go there. I was all ready to go. And what happened was my wife was pregnant, and she didn't feel like it was a good time to move, which
Yeah.
She was right, I guess, but I was kind of uh, sad that I didn't get this job because it wasn't that easy to find a teaching job, and I thought this would be right up my alley since I had the 2 years of teaching English to Thai students. So I stayed on. At some point, my older brother split from my father. I went to work with him. That was a little bit better, but not much, because I just wasn't that interested in the business altogether. So I got in my mind, oh, Princeton in Asia. Let me apply to Princeton in Asia. And I did, and I got accepted by them. And I got a job in a branch of the same college that I taught in the northeast of Thailand. I got a job in the south of Thailand, Songkhla, in the south of Thailand. So I thought, oh, this is great. Same university. I know what's going on here. It'll be similar. I'll love it. And the climate is probably better. It's right on the coast. It'll be great. So at that point, our son was 2 years old. We brought him to Thailand when he was 2, and I got this job in this university, and it was totally different because the whole faculty was Westerners. The only Thai faculty was the chair lady. All the rest of the Thai faculty were overseas studying, getting their PhDs or whatever. So the Thai chair lady basically let this Canadian woman run the department. And I'm pretty sure her background was as a high school teacher. And I had experience as a college teacher at the same university, a different branch. And we just had very different ideas of how things should work. So I did not feel comfortable there. And I could have stayed for 2 years or possibly even more, but after 1 year, they gave me a 1-year contract. I said, okay, that's enough. I'm leaving. And at that point, I decided I'm not going to look for a job when I get back to America. I'm going to look for a place where I want to live. So I had a good friend in North Carolina. We went down to North Carolina and looked around there. And then we drove up to the Catskills, which I knew from way back when I was in high school, and went up there for Woodstock and for a camping trip. So I knew the Catskills a little bit. And I think we must have stayed up in the Catskills for a week at a, what do you call it? A little resort. No, not a resort. It was a cabin. Not very fancy, but it was okay. We went to different real estate agents and we looked around, and eventually, and we went to Zen Mountain Monastery outside of Woodstock. And I remember asking them if they had ever considered having people build a cabin on their property, and they told me that they never did that. But I remember asking them about that because I left out the most important thing here. Leaving southern Thailand in the summer of 1983, I decided that would be the ideal time to visit Japan and go to Eheiji.
Oh.
Because I had always read about Eheiji in Zen Mind Beginner's Mind.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I didn't make it to Tassajara, but I can possibly go to AAG. And this time I knew I should contact them in advance. So before I left Thailand, I had written to
Oh,
AAG
yeah.
and gotten permission and got a letter back in English, giving me permission and telling me, I think maybe what date I could be there. I told them what date maybe I wanted to come. And so I went to AAG. And I was expecting to stay there for 2 weeks. That's what I had written, I think. But when I got there, they told me, no, you can't stay for 2 weeks unless you're going to ordain or something. You can only stay for 1 week. So I said, okay. So I'll stay for 1 week. And it was a session, style. We got up in the middle of the night and we sat, I don't know, a dozen times a day and did the karaoke and the chanting and the services. And you've been there, right? It's just a beautiful facility.
Yeah.
I was totally impressed by it, and I had a very, very, I would say, deep Zen experience there.
Mm.
And so when I went back to America, that's probably what led me to go to the Zen Mountain Monastery and ask them if they would consider maybe selling an acre and having somebody build a cabin there, but that didn't seem like it was going to happen. But anyhow, we looked around and we found this cabin, very inexpensive, in the forest, very close to the Catskill Forest Preserve. You could walk through the forest of neighbors' properties to get up into the Catskill Forest Preserve. And that was the place. We lived there for 20 years. And I think it was a good decision. I just decided place was more important to me than job. So once there, again, I was going to look for a teaching job. The bureaucracy of the state of New York would not give me a teaching certificate because I hadn't done practice teaching at a high school, even though I had done 2 years of college teaching, 3 years of college teaching at that point. That didn't qualify me. If I had done 3 years of high school teaching in Thailand, that would have qualified me for a teaching certificate. But since I had only taught at the college level, that wasn't good enough.
That's weird.
Yeah, that was weird. So I said, okay, so I'll do practice teaching. That's what they wanted me to do. So I signed up at the local college, State University of New York at New Paltz, to do practice teaching. And I did the practice teaching in a local high school and was going to be qualified now to get my certificate to teach at the high school level. But in the meanwhile, another young lady who was at the same high school with me doing practice teaching, we got to talking about jobs, and she said, my boyfriend works at Mercy College for their prison program. And if you're interested in teaching in a prison, he could probably give you a job. So I sent him my resume, and I had a degree in English. I had experience teaching English. I had a master's degree in teaching English. But I always put on my resume minor in computer science because I had this bunch of courses in computer science. And it wasn't truly a minor because Rutgers, where I went to school, didn't officially have minors. But I thought, no, people aren't going to know that. I had enough courses for to reasonably say I had a minor in computer science.
Mm-hmm.
So he looked at my resume, I guess, and he got in touch with me and he said, well, we don't need anybody to teach English, but if you want to teach a computer literacy class, you can have it. So that's how I got to become a computer teacher. Out of,
and what year is that?
That would have been, let's see, Probably 1984.
84.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a sense. I started becoming aware of computers about then. The woman I was living with was in charge of computers for the Point Reyes Bird Observatory. What were computers then? I mean, what were you
Yeah,
teaching?
I don't know if it was the first Apple, but it was one of the first Apples, and it was Radio Shack and Apple, and I don't think the IBM PC had come out at that point, or maybe it was just about to come out. But when I was going to teach at the college, they gave me an Apple PC to get up to speed with, and I would bring it with me, or I don't remember. Maybe they had one at the prison.
You
But
said, wait a
it
minute.
was just
You
like one or yeah. I taught at a prison in New York State. Not
wait. You
maybe.
said an Apple PC.
Oh, okay. Well, personal computer, and not an IBM PC. An Apple. I don't know if it was one or two. Probably
Was it a
one or two.
laptop or a desktop?
Yeah. No, I don't think laptops had even come out at that point. It was a small desktop, I guess you'd say, if I
Uh-huh.
remember right. Yeah. Uh, I can't even remember exactly what it looked like, but I don't think we had laptops at that point. I think it was a small desktop computer.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't remember. I had a class at this prison. They might have had more than one computer, but they definitely didn't have enough computers for everybody. They might have had 3 or 4. And I would give them homework, and they would come in during the week and to their computer room, and they could do some homework on these on a one or more Apple PCs. But they didn't have enough for everybody, so it wasn't a very good situation for the students. And that was my first semester there. I had one class, and then I got some other classes at other prisons, and eventually I got a full-time job with State University of New York Community College, teaching full-time at a prison, a different prison,
And
closer to
what were
my
you
home.
teaching?
Computer classes, and
Still.
they were going to do a 2-year degree in computer programming at this prison.
That's great.
And I went to prison probably 4 days a week for better part of 4 years, just during semesters, like 15-week semesters. But I went to work in the prison all the time, and it wasn't the greatest situation, but it was pretty good because, again, most of the students were pretty interested. They weren't forced to do this. They elected to do it. They
Yeah,
didn't have to go to
yeah.
college, and they were getting college credit. And it was a lot of fun because I knew a couple of computer languages, but each semester I would learn a new one to stay one step ahead of the students.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And it was pretty good. But there were 2 problems. One, the prisons wouldn't keep the students in one prison. They would continually shift the students to different prisons. So we couldn't keep one class of students going semester after semester. Why they did that, I don't know. And I think at around the same time, government funding for this kind of program was running out or was cut. There may be, I want to say it was federal funding under Reagan, but I'm not sure if that's actually true, but I think it probably is. So after 4 years teaching full-time for this community college, they let me go because my program was not, in their mind, successful, since we couldn't graduate any students. We could never keep anybody for 4 semesters. We'd always be bringing in new students, but that I don't know if it was that was the main reason, or the other reason was the funding. But they let me go, so that was the end of that career. And it was nice not to have to go into a prison all the time.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Now,
the friendliest
what level prison was it?
Uh,
Was it
I
minimum
want to say it
security
was,
or?
well, it was either medium or high. I mean, there were
Oh, really?
some pretty serious convicts there. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they were convicted. I never talked with them, but I could pick up. I never discussed with them about why they were there, but
Yeah.
I could pick up some. For 4 years, I picked up some knowledge, and there were some people who were in there for very serious crimes.
Yeah.
But in class, we respected each other, and I never had any problems. Normally, there would be a prison guard sitting outside the door, I think. He wasn't there all the time, but he was usually there. And we had a row of classrooms, some for high school GED and some for the college. And, it wasn't bad, but I don't think I ever want to go into a prison again. I had enough of prison. It's not a real pleasant place to be.
Yeah.
So at that point, my wife had a job at a resort in the area called the New Age Health Spa.
Ah.
She was working in the kitchen of the New Age Health Spa. And
Remind me where you were.
we were in the Catskills.
Oh, yeah. Right.
The Southern Catskills. And the owner of the spa somehow, I don't remember how, he and I were talking, and they had this Radio Shack computer that I think was kind of not really useful anymore, not really good, but they had I guess a client list on this Radio Shack computer, and they wanted to get it onto a IBM personal computer. At that point, they were using the IBM style, maybe not IBM brand, but personal computers, IBM operating systems. I think this was even, I don't remember when Windows came out, but I think we were still using DOS at the prison. Anyhow, they had this client list on Radio Shack, and I said, well, if you can get it to me on a floppy disk, I can probably figure out how to get it into a format where you can use it on your IBM type PC. And I did that for them, and they were very appreciative. And that was before I left the teaching job. And then when I left the teaching job, I guess we started talking, and somehow I got a job there, kind of managing their computer systems. I don't remember what the original situation was, but I got a job there, and I set up a whole computer system for everything they did, not just for their client database, but for tracking all the reservations, for sales at the store, for all the services that they provided, massages and things like that. So that was a very, very big project, probably the biggest project I ever did. And, I had to maintain that, and that was a big part of my job there for 5 years. But I also got to do other things for them, including Friday afternoon introduction to Zen meditation,
Oh, very
which they did
good.
every Friday afternoon.
Ah,
So I did that for a number of years. How I was qualified, I don't know, but I did it.
oh yeah, I'm sure you were qualified.
So um, that would have been 89 to 94. We also did
Mm.
hiking there, and I became a, what did we call it? Certified hike leader, which wasn't a big deal, but I would lead hikes. We did hiking, and the owner was very into different things. And he brought in a ropes course, and I learned how to be an instructor on the ropes course, and then another high ropes course, and I learned how to be an instructor on that. So it was good. And he would bring in different people to do trainings for his staff if you wanted to do trainings. And let me think, I have to think, was it that time? Yeah, we did a hypnosis training. So I learned how to do a little bit of hypnosis. It was mostly for self-hypnosis, but I learned something about self-hypnosis at that point, some point in those 5 years. And I went to Daibosatsu Zendo,
Yeah.
which is the other big Zen center in the Catskills. Beautiful, beautiful Japanese style temple building. And I met Junpo, who you know, Dennis Kelly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I met him and I got him to come to New Age Health Spa a few times
Ah,
to give us, a real introduction to Zen meditation from somebody who was really qualified. So he
ah,
came and we got to know each other, and I was impressed by him. And I also did a weekend training at the Zen Center there with him, and I thought this is good. I think I helped to improve the quality of the training at the health spa, and I got to meet this guy, and I really liked it.
yeah, he was something.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything else you have to say about him? He's one a very he was a very fascinating person.
Yeah. He didn't tell me anything about his past. I only learned about that years later when I found his book, I think, on Cuke.com, and got his book, the book about, not his book, the biography of him,
Yeah,
and read that biography. And then I learned all about his past, which is
yeah,
really very interesting.
yeah.
But I just knew him as a Zen teacher. I guess he was the head teacher at the Daibosatsu Zendo when I went there. Um, I never met Edo Roshi,
Oh,
but
huh.
I never met. But I got to know Junpo a little bit. Yeah, a number of
Huh.
times I met him. And the one thing that I do remember, I think I told you this. He told me, we were talking one time. He left his car in the next town, and I picked him up. He had to get some service on his car, and I picked him up in the town, and I drove him to the health spa. And I think it was when I was driving him back to get his car, we were talking, and I was telling him something about how, I don't know, maybe how impressed I was that he was a Zen teacher. And he made some comment, well, it's just another job. And I thought, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way. But he
Huh.
said something to that effect, and I thought, that's an interesting perspective.
Huh.
Yeah,
Huh.
I remember that. But yeah, I was impressed by him and his method of teaching, and the Zen Center there. Have you been to that center? in the
Yeah,
Catskills, Douglas Matsuendo.
yeah. I
It's
went there
a great
just to
place.
see Ado and
Uh-huh.
interviewed him there, which I'm very glad I did. It was
Mhm.
a really good interview.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So, I should say, in 1993, wait a minute, yeah, 1993, I believe, while I was working at the health spa, um, uh, the owner, who I've mentioned, had airline miles that he told me he had to use up. They were going to expire. And he wanted to go to India where he had been before. He, he had done all kinds of trainings and he'd been in India and he wanted to go back to India and his wife didn't want to go. She had already been to India with him once, I think. So he asked me, do I want to go to India with him?
now
You
this is
know,
who
free,
who
free airfare, free
uh,
airfare,
huh?
free airfare to India.
No, no, but who is this?
The owner of the health spa,
Right.
the owner.
And oh,
So,
okay.
where actually, for a while, I was the manager. He made me the manager. I don't know if
Uh-huh.
I was still the manager at that point, but I think I probably was. But yeah, I think I was. So, he offered me this, and I said, India, yeah, yeah. So we went to India. Um, we flew into New Delhi. We took some trains, but the high point, well, there were two high points. We went to Varanasi and the deer park. So that was very meaningful for me to go to the deer park and walk around all the temples there. Have you been there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was very impressive for me.
Now remind me, Varanasi, Deer Park, Agra. Uh,
Varanasi, Benares, it was Benares before and became Varanasi. And
yeah.
the deer park was kind of like right outside of it. It was maybe across the river or something, but it was very nearby.
I remember
And
going to
Varanasi is on the
Agra.
Ganges.
I remember going to Agra. I might have missed Deer Park, but
It has all these temples that are put up. It was the site of, I think they called it the site of the Buddha's first teaching or sermon or something.
well,
The
I
deer
think of
park.
that as Agra.
Well, we can check. But anyhow, it's
Yeah,
a, it's
yeah.
a famous it's a famous Buddhist place where the historical Buddha was supposed to have been and taught. And there are all these temples there constructed by the different countries, Japan and Tibet and a bunch of Thailand, different temples that are there
Oh,
on this site.
no, I haven't been there. That's Deer Park, huh? That's different from Agra. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, next time.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. And then we went up to Sikkim, which was far northeast corner of India. And we did a little trek, not a real big trek, but we did a little trek and we went up to this town near the border with Kathmandu. And there was a big Tibetan style temple there. And I asked if we could go and sit with them in the morning. And we sat with them in the morning. And that was a very, very nice experience to sit in there. And it was within sight of the third highest mountain in the Himalayas, which we barely got a glimpse of through the clouds because it was always cloudy when we were there. But we got a glimpse, and I think I got a little photo of it. So that was a highlight. That and the Deer Park and Varanasi. Varanasi is also where a lot of Hindus go for their funerals. They have the funeral pyres right next to the Ganges, and they
Yeah.
get the ashes into the Ganges after the funeral pyre. So we saw that too. So that was a very meaningful experience in my Buddhist background, I would say. Then I came back. One thing and another, I decided to. I had 5 years at the health spa. I decided it was enough. Actually, I thought maybe it was time to move out west again. It never happened for me, but a number of times I tried. We drove out to Arizona and New Mexico and looked around a little bit. And our son had just finished 8th grade and did not want to move. And my wife did not want to move. So we came back and I got another teaching job at not a college, but at an adult education center for the county. And I taught there and worked there on their computer system for the next 5 years. So not that much Zen going on except my personal practice, I don't think, for those 5 years. And then in 1999, the owner of the health spa, who I went to India with and was a very influential person, but sometimes hard to deal with, he had a stroke. And his wife, who was the co-owner, but wasn't, I would say, as much of a manager in the beginning as he was, she had to take over, and she asked me to come back and help out at the spa. And also, it was 1999, and do you remember what was going on in the computer world in 1999? There was this fear that in the year 2000, all these computer systems were going to crash.
Oh, yeah.
And
Y2K. Y2K.
And I knew that the computer system that I designed for the spa back in 89 and 90 was going to have a problem. It could have been remedied, but I knew it was going to have a problem because of that feature that nobody was thinking about back then. So they got me to come back. I was ready to leave my teaching job, and they got me to come back, and I designed the same system in a new, what do you call it? Format? No, I can't think of the word. But I used a new program to basically design the same system so there wouldn't be any Y2K problem. And I think they might have had a primitive website, but I made a much more detailed website for them. And that kept me busy for the most part for the next 5 years. And I told them I didn't want to do any hiking this time. I didn't want to do any ropes course this time. I just wanted to do the computer stuff, and I would do the introduction to Zen meditation again on Friday afternoons. So those were the two things that I did for the next 5 years.
I want to go back to Y2K.
Yeah.
I remember thinking it's going to be all right, nothing big's going to happen. And that's how it worked out. But obviously, computers had to make some adjustment. And, I started Cuke.com in December of 98. So I was using computers. What happened? How was it all? Because I don't remember any problem.
basically, the problem was in the beginning, computer storage was expensive, and you had very little computer storage compared to what we have today.
Yeah.
So we tried to conserve what was stored. And one way to do that was when you stored a date, you only stored it with 2 places for the year. So instead of 1989, you stored 89.
Yeah.
So when it became 2000, that was going to become a problem because the system wouldn't know how to really identify 00 as a year coming after 99. You see, if you only stored 2 digits,
So
00.
how was it worked out? I don't
Well,
remember
you
any
had
problem.
you had to redesign any systems that had stored dates that way to store them with 4 digits instead
Yeah.
of 2 digits, and then it would be okay.
So in terms of my usage, I
It
guess
wouldn't have
just
affected you.
updating the system
It,
took
it
care
wouldn't
of
have
that.
affected. It wouldn't have affected you directly, and because you didn't have anything that was even if you had a date, it wasn't critical. Uh, but in a business situation, you need to know what date comes after what date, and 00 did not come after 99.
Yeah,
So
but
that
how
would have
was
been a
it
problem.
corrected? Was it like
Well, wherever you stored dates, you had to change the way you stored them to store them with 4 digits.
Yeah, but I mean, when you to go from the 2-digit system to the 4-digit, like there were updates or something of
Yeah,
the right.
yeah, but it was it had to do with storage and programming because the programs weren't necessarily able to deal with a switch from 99 to 00.
Uh huh.
And when you're talking about a business, dates are important. If you just have a list of things on a website, okay, it's not going to be an issue. But if you have to track, for example, when somebody comes to stay at the spa on December 25th, 1999, and they're going to leave on January 2nd, 2000, then it's critical that you understand that the program understands that and is
Yeah,
not confused by that.
yeah. Well, and with some systems, it couldn't just be updated, huh? It had to be. You had to put in a new system or what?
Well, actually, they had put in while I was gone, they they bought a new system, but they didn't like it. So they let me redesign the whole system to make it more like it was before. Because
Huh?
the new system they bought, they weren't really satisfied with it.
Huh? Huh? Well, everything in my computer is dated, and you know it's dates have some importance in terms of,
Yeah,
but and I, but anyway, it wasn't a problem for me, and you say, well, it wouldn't be a problem for your laptop.
no, I don't think it would have been a problem for the average home user. But
Certainly wasn't.
the
I don't.
business for businesses,
It
it
was,
was critical.
but it seems the transition went rather smoothly.
Yeah, because people became aware of it. They became aware of it, so they had, probably a year to make fixes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe 2 years. I was such a
Yeah,
big deal.
yeah,
Yeah, I knew somebody. I have a very close friend who was involved with the network of people that were like doing disaster planning
Mm,
and the community
mhm,
meetings for what to do
mm.
when everything shuts down and all the airplanes fall from the sky. And I
Yeah,
never could believe it was going to be like that.
no,
Yeah.
no.
All right. All right. Well, so where were you there?
Okay, so that was 99 to 2004. I was working back at the health spa. And um, at some, let's see, after the events of 9/11 2001, I think I became aware of Vipassana course in the Goenka tradition in Massachusetts that I signed up for, a 10-day Goenka style course. And I went there, and the first few days were okay. And of course, at that point, Goenka was deceased. And all of the teaching basically was recordings of Goenka that they played, on a tape recorder. Yeah, I think we were still using tape recorders. So everything was audio of him, but it taped. And there was a guy who was in charge locally, but he wasn't doing the teaching. It was all Goenka. Have you ever heard Goenka speak?
Hmm. I guess I have. I can't remember. But
He has a very, very deep voice.
uh huh.
And to me, whether he was aware of it or not, it was hypnotic. The way he spoke was hypnotic. And he came off as if he knew the secrets of how the Buddha taught meditation. This is the way I understood it. And he said, "This is the real way that the Buddha taught meditation," and basically implying, therefore, this is the way you should do meditation.
Yeah.
And his voice saying this kind of thing, repeating over and over again, I found to be cult-like.
Oh. Oh.
And I said, this is not for me. I've had my Zen meditation for many years. I know how to meditate. I thought this was going to be different. Uh, this isn't for me. And in the middle of the training, I left, and I told the leader, the local leader, I'm leaving. And they did these things like when you sign up for the course, you commit to staying for 10 days. You're signing like a commitment, like a contract, and you agree to all these rules that you'll follow. And when I told them I was leaving, when I told the person I was leaving, he really tried to dissuade me, and he said all kinds of psychological bad things can happen to you if you leave in the middle of a training. And to me, okay, this is extra cult-like.
Yeah.
Why would you say something like that to me? So that convinced me more. And I didn't want to argue with him. I had my system. He had his system. Okay, it's probably very good. I think it could be very good training for somebody who had no experience. But
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't for me. And I just found that his voice was hypnotic, and I did not appreciate that. and I left.
I have
And
a
that,
question. I have a question
okay,
about it.
okay.
Did they do walking meditation with the sitting?
Uh, yeah, I'm confusing that a little because I went to another Vipassana
Yeah. Well,
center,
I think I've
but
talked
I
to
think
people
they
who did
might have
Goenka
done.
and they didn't walk. And I
I'm not
cannot
sure if they did do
imagine
it.
doing a Vipassana retreat without
Yeah,
walking.
I'm not sure. I couldn't say. Hmm,
I think they might
I'm
not
not
have.
sure. Yeah, I remember going to another Vipassana place in Massachusetts where we definitely did the walking. This one, I'm not sure if we did or not.
Yeah.
I couldn't swear to it. But anyhow, I left. And then at some point after that, I decided, there are all these websites where people can comment and make their comments like, I guess Amazon had started at that point around 2003. And I said, I think I can make a website where people can comment on meditation centers. So then I did. I made this website, gosit.org. I don't know if you remember it, but
Uh huh.
it's still there. Uh, it was a failure because, for the most part, nobody would submit comments. So that was my whole idea when I did it. I mean, it wasn't just to list all the meditation centers in the country. It was to have people comment and have other people read the comments and judge from the comments whether or not they wanted to go to this meditation center. So I don't do much. I hardly do anything with that website anymore. I'm thinking I might just let it go this time, but it's still up there right now.
It's a good idea, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea, but it never caught on.
Huh.
So whatever.
Huh.
So that was around 2003. I think I started that, and then by 2004, I was having some issues at the health spa with some staff, and I said, you know what? I've done basically what I was called in to do. I redesigned the website. I mean, I redesigned the database program. I set up the website so it does all kinds of things for you. I think it's time for me to leave. And uh, in 2004, that's when we moved to Tennessee. But I want to mention one other thing because I made some notes. In 98, 1998, our son went to Princeton.
Mm.
And sometime after Crooked Cucumber was published in 99, right?
Yeah.
Sometime we would often go in and meet him at the bookstore where I had happened to have worked for one semester way back when I was in between, in between. So I liked that bookstore. I would go in there, and we would often meet him there. It was a convenient place to meet. And I looked around in the religion section, and I saw Crooked Cucumber. That must have been around 2000, I would guess. Could have been right after it was published, 99. He was there from 98 to 2002. So
Yeah.
sometime in there, I think it was towards the beginning, I found Crooked Cucumber. I said, oh, this is great. I really got into that book. And, I had been reading Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind over and over again over the years. And here's this book about Suzuki, and I loved it. So anyhow, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Well,
In
that's an
2000,
excellent point to make.
yeah,
I have a question. What about Not Always So? And
yeah, I got them at some point. When they don't. I mean, I've read all the books, not always so, and
well, there's Not Always
all
So.
those.
There's
Yeah,
branching streams flow in the
Branching
darkness,
Street. Yeah,
which is
I've read it.
You can look at your
But
own list. You've got
yeah,
them up.
I got it right behind me. But I guess in mind, beginner's mind was the first, and that was the one that I guess I paid the most attention to.
Yeah.
Anyhow, uh, over the years, I kept going back to it. And I got the other books whenever I saw them. I got other books, other teachers, but that was for me, I guess, the one that resonated the most.
Mm.
So in 2004, we decided we had had enough of the Catskills. My wife was from a hot climate. The Catskills was a cold climate, long winters, lots of snow. So we decided we'd move south somewhere. And we ended up in Tennessee, right on the border of the Cherokee National Forest,
Mm.
in the mountains, right above a beautiful lake, Watauga Lake,
Mm.
which right beside Watauga Lake is the Appalachian Trail. So again, I moved to a place where I loved the place, not looking for any job. And what I had was I could still do computer work. I had another 2 or 3 kind of clients where I would help them with databases or websites, and I could do that from anywhere.
Yeah.
And
Remotely. Yeah.
I still did some work for the health spa remotely. So I
Yeah.
had that, and at some point I got involved with a meditation group. It wasn't Zen per se. It was just a meditation group that met in a Unitarian Universalist church about 45 minutes from where we lived. And they would have these, I think, 4-hour meetings once a month on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We would sit a few times and do walking meditation and maybe read something and talk about it. And they also did some meditative lunch practice, which I didn't do, but I like that, and I used to go pretty regularly. And then I'm trying to remember, probably around 2011, we found out that there was another group in nearby town, Johnson City, at college there. And then we found out that there was another group maybe getting started. And we said, maybe we should all get together and rent a place, because nobody had their own place, and rent a place in Johnson City. And so we had a few meetings, and I went to all the meetings, and we started the Appalachian Dharma Meditation Center. And I was kind of one of the people who was involved, so I got to be on the initial board. I think we had 4 or 5 board members, and we did the official legal papers, and we were incorporated as a nonprofit. And I was involved with that until we left Tennessee in 2018, when we moved back to Pennsylvania.
Wow. And when you first got hold of me, 2012, you were in Tennessee.
Right.
And
Right.
and when did you go back to Pennsylvania?
2018, the end of 2018.
And
Yeah.
so, do you have any clients now? any paying clients?
No, I mean, no. The health spa closed.
Mm.
The other clients, one died. One got sold, and they went to a more international computer company. So they phased out my computer program. So no, I had also done other volunteer work, but mostly that's all gone. Also, the only thing still do is I'm doing again is the Democratic local county Democratic committee.
Uh-huh. Are you interested in clients? Are you
No,
no.
no, I'm retired. I'm
Yeah.
not interested. No,
Yeah.
I
That's
had enough.
that's good. I can't comprehend that because of the way I've lived. I have
Yeah,
no savings, and
yeah,
I don't understand retirement. I go, wow, retire. They save money, or there's some
yeah,
income coming. Hey, that land you bought with your brother. My first
yeah,
thought, back when you were 20 or something,
yeah,
was that's a very good use of money.
yeah,
Like if you're
yeah,
young and you get some money to
yeah.
buy a piece of land, boy, that's better than most things a young person would do. What happened with that?
Yeah, well, I was ready to sell it pretty soon after I left, but my brother wanted to keep it. So he said he wanted to keep it as a fallback in case everything fell apart. He would have that place.
Right.
Uh, so he kept it for a number of years. The taxes were minimal. It was just forest land. And then a few years ago, after we moved to Pennsylvania, I told him, because he could use the money at that point, um, I told him, we could probably make some money if we sold that place. So I contacted, we're about, I guess, an hour and a half away from it. We're not too far away from where it was. So I contacted a real estate agent up in that area, and we sold it, and we made a good profit. But it was like, I don't know how many years, 72 to maybe 22, so 50 years, something like that.
Wow.
Something, yeah, 20, yeah, something like 50 years he held on to it.
So, would you say it was a good investment?
You know, I guess in terms of dollars, but there's so much inflation. Things were so much cheaper back then. So I don't know if, in the long run, if you'd put it into something else, it might have done the same thing.
Well, at least you didn't lose it. Most
No,
money just disappears.
yeah, it gets spent.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Well, so there you are. And, it's the first time I saw you in a live video feed
Mhm.
was, I don't know, a few months ago at that meeting with
Mhm.
Jiru set up for
Mhm.
history Zen Center
Right.
stuff. And that was an exciting experience for me. I go, wow, there he is. I mean, it's amazing. Have we ever talked on the phone
Yeah, we talked in the very beginning.
in the very beginning? I couldn't
Yeah, when you were
remember.
still in California. Yeah.
We have we have such a smooth relationship,
Mhm.
and working relationship is really great. Um, and there's a little bit of I learned a little bit about you, but mainly it's business, and
Mhm.
a little bit of the other. And so it was really great seeing you, and it's been great being with you now for I don't know how long.
Couple hours.
A couple
Maybe.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was fun.
Yeah, it's very good and very interesting to me. And I was glad to meet Paris. Is that right, Paris?
Well, her real name is Barichat, but we don't really know how to pronounce that in in America because it's got the initial consonant is not one that we have. It's an unaspirated P sound.
Say it again.
Any sense? Barichat. That's her full name. So in America and in England, they gave her a shortened name, just the first four letters, P-A-R-I, Parry. So you can say it however you want. It's not her real name, but it's her anglicized nickname.
Yeah. Well, I am going to get this podcast talk ready now, and I'm going to upload it. That's what I'm going to do. I appreciate it. It's really good to see you, and I really appreciate everything you've done, say the least. Sort of like, you're up there with gratitude to parents and wife.
Well, for me, it's a great thing to do. So I'm very, very happy to do it every day.
So thanks a lot, Peter. It's been great.
Thank you, David.
Really, really good hearing all that. Good to spend time with you, and thank you for everything you're doing and will be doing into the infinite future.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Take care. All right.
Night.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So thanks a lot, Peter Ford. Well, that was good. Wow, that was interesting. I learned a lot, and I hope you, the listening audience, appreciates what maybe a little better now, the contribution that Peter Ford has made and continues to make to Cuke Archives. This has been a Cuke audio podcast. I'm DC Poobah of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, coming to you from Sleepy Sanur with Doggett Bandita, Feline Manis, and dear lovely Katrinka. And we're wishing you and yours and all of us a grand awakening.